Whenever I do a proof, and in this case specifically it's a triangle congruence proof, I'll always start by labeling my picture if I have one. If I don't have a picture, I'll have to draw it, but typically we do have a picture. From there, I'm going to make just a plan of how I'm going to do the proof so that when I actually start writing out my statements and my reasons, I can do it efficiently without a whole bunch of extra steps. So let's start by labeling our givens. Then we'll see if there's anything in the picture we can find that's not necessarily a given statement. So first thing we're told is that segment BD bisects angle ABC. Angle ABC would go from A to B to C. So ABC would be this large angle up at the top. Bisect means to cut in half, so we know the two sides, angle ABD and angle CBD, are going to be congruent. Our next given statement is that segment AB is congruent to segment CB, so that means these two sides are the same. So right now I've got a side and an angle. We typically need 3 things to prove that triangles are congruent. So you're going to look for if there's anything hidden, vertical angles, supplementary angles. In this case, both of these triangles share this line segment in the middle. So BD is going to be congruent to itself. So if I'm trying to prove triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD, I've got 2 sides on each triangle and an included angle. The shortcut that I want to use is side, angle, side. And usually I'll write that down somewhere on my paper so I don't forget it, so I can do my proof efficiently. All right, so we're going to set out and show side, angle, side. I like to show it in that order, so I'm going to show an S, an A, and an S. You can do it out of order, but just to be organized, I like to go in the order of the congruent shortcut. So the first thing I need to show is one of my sides being congruent. Well, if you look at our given statement, we know that AB is congruent to CB. So let's go ahead and write that. My first statement, segment AB is congruent to segment CB. Reason for that is given. So my first S is taken care of. You could cross it out, you could underline it, you could put a star by it. So we know we've taken care of that. Now we have to move on to the A, which stands for angle. So I'm going to show that angle ABD is congruent to angle CBD. Well, that's pretty easy. We were told BD was a bisector of angle ABC. So let's get that information in there. That's going to be 2. And then I can say that the 2 angles we created, angle ABD and angle CBD, are congruent. The reason for that, remember you can use any vocab word as a reason, you just have to throw definition in front of it. Well, bisector means to cut in half, so I'm just going to say definition of bisector. So far we've shown one of our sides and one of our angles. Sometimes off to the side I'll put an S and an A so I can remember what steps I did those in. Last thing I have to show is that I've got a set of congruent sides. I did that in my picture by saying that the triangles share line segment BD. Whenever something is equal to itself or congruent to itself, that is the reflexive property. So my fourth reason is going to be BD is congruent to itself because of the reflexive property. So my goal was to show side, angle, side. I did that. I have step 1 talks about a side pair. Step 3 talks about an angle pair. Step 4 talks about a side pair. So since I have all steps of that shortcut, I can say that these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. So our last statement is always word for word what we are trying to prove. So I was trying to prove that triangle ABD was congruent to triangle CBD. The reason I know that is by side, angle, side. If you want to be really specific, you could say the side, angle, side congruence postulate, but I usually just say the abbreviation. So SAS, and then I like to add in an extra step where I put in parentheses the steps that I showed that in. So I showed that in steps 1, 3, and 4. You do not have to do this. If you forgot your parentheses at the end, you wouldn't lose any points on a test. I just like to throw that in there so it's nice and organized.